Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Reverend Kenneth Watts. I'm a hospital chaplain, live and work in Boise. I represent myself. I support House Bill 2. When I was a preteen, I was molested by a trusted family member. It took me many, many years to get beyond the guilt and shame that I, as a child, felt, as if somehow I had caused this. It took me many more years, even into the years in my chaplaincy career, to let go of tying pedophilia with the fact that this family member was a homosexual. I remember the pain that came up when I had to visit my first patient dying of AIDS who was a homosexual. It was difficult to be compassionate and listen. I must confess at the outset, I'm a heterosexual white male from a typical lower middle class family. Grew up in the Midwest. Like much of society as a whole, my family of origin was plagued by ignorance and many of the fears and prejudices of the 50s and 60s, including use of degrading slurs and nasty descriptions of people who were not like us. As I matured and became an adult, left home for college, married, I tried to let go of the pain and the prejudice, the racism, the disdain for gays and lesbians that had been based mostly on ignorance and fear with which I had grown up. They were part of my circle of friends, my professors, and later my parishioners. I sought to learn, to understand, to broaden my worldview, and to question all the stereotypes. I was changing. Society as a whole was changing, just like it has throughout our history as a nation. I couldn't help but notice the display in the back of this auditorium. The case contains artifacts relating to President Abraham Lincoln. I grew up in Springfield, Illinois, toured the State Museum, played and rode my bike around Lincoln's tomb, Lincoln's Springfield home. I went to New Salem on school outings and later in life took my children there. I climbed the stone steps to the base of Lincoln's bronze bust outside the Capitol and helped polish his bronze nose for good luck. Lincoln in his early career was not against slavery, not totally. At age of 28, while serving in the Illinois General Assembly, Lincoln made one of his first public declarations regarding slavery. The following protest was presented to the House, which was read and ordered to be spread to the newspapers. Quote, "Resolutions upon the subject of domestic slavery having passed both branches of the General Assembly at its present session, the undersigned hereby protest against the passage of same. They believe that the institution of slavery is founded on both injustice and bad policy, but that the promulgation of abolition doctrines tends rather to increase than to abate its evils." Signed, Dan Stone and A. Lincoln, representatives from the county of Sangamon, end quote. The magnificence of and wisdom of Lincoln's leadership was that he was willing to change, and change he did. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation January 1st, 1863, later supported the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, abolishing slavery in the United States. Then came the modern civil rights movement, and July 2nd, 1964 signing of the Civil Rights Act by President Johnson, which prohibits discrimination of all kinds based on race, color, religion, or national origin. And in 1968, Congress extended civil rights legislation which prohibited discrimination in the workplace on the basis of race to ban gender bias as well. Now, decades later, I'm the father of 4 grown children. I've tried to instill in them the importance of seeing the good in all people, of seeking understanding rather than promoting fear, of seeing beyond stereotypes and labels and tearing down walls that so easily divide us. We'll never completely answer the question of whether being gay or lesbian or is biological or environmental or social. It's probably a combination of many, many factors. Who cares? They are human beings worthy of dignity and worth, rights to choose how they live their lives, and worthy of our support and love. They are us. We are them. Through my words and deeds, I hope my children have learned that families come in all shapes and sizes, that all people should be afforded the same basic human freedom to be who they are, to love who they choose, work, play, and live in community without fear of discrimination. I'm in favor of adding the 4 words sexual orientation and gender identity to the listed classes in the Idaho Human Rights Act, because it is the right thing to do, and it is the right time to do it. Thank you for your time. Questions?
Are there questions? Thank you.